Yo, what up with y'all? Shout out to those who tuning in right now, man. We live with it. And I honestly believe everybody who's tapped in right now, including myself, will experience breakthroughs and realizations and epiphanies as a result of this conversation. For those of you who may not know me, I go by Mo Rob, but for the meantime, y'all could call me Mo. And just before I begin, my entire purpose for creating these videos or this podcast or whatever you may want to call it is to provide value. So whatever you do call it is irrelevant as long as you're receiving whatever's being said. And my purpose I had a realization the other day that every single one of our purpose here on this earth is to provide value, and whatever way we do that individually is up to us and our personal preference. But mine is through music. My passion is music, so I provide value through music, and now I'm hoping to provide even more value through doing this. And for those of you who may be wondering what type of value or what type of content will this podcast consist of, it's going to consist of valuable information, just very valuable, intelligent information that could be applied by anybody watching. It's not going to be one specific subject, but it's going to be about the mind. It's going to be about how we control and we create our own reality. And with that being said, let's go ahead and begin. One thing I do want to say as a reminder is we create and we control our own reality. We have 100% creative control over what happens within our lives. And that's why I said that everyone who's watching this could apply this information within their lives, because every single one of us has an intellectual and has an emotional side, as well as the physical side that you see. And the reminder, whether you forgot or you haven't forgotten, is that you are the creator of your own reality. And I say it's a reminder because that's a piece of information that we've known before we even stepped into these physical bodies. We knew that coming into who we are today, we would have the ability to create what we wanted in our reality. And it's amazing how so much of us have just forgotten that valuable piece of information, and nobody really understands that. So today I'm hoping that we could really get this reinstalled so we could apply it and begin creating a reality that is best for our desires and best for what we want to be and what we want to do and what we want to have in this life. So if you haven't forgotten, congratulations, and I hope you're using this information applicably. And for those of you who may never even heard about this information before, let's go ahead and begin. So we create our own reality through the thoughts that we think and through the emotions that we feel. That's how we create our reality. And it's crazy how you could take two substances, thought and emotion, non-physical substances, and when they're combined into one single potent force, you have the ability to move mountains. And what that means is basically you're taking the two non-physical substances, thought and emotion, and whenever they're combined and they're on an equivalent frequency, you have the ability to affect physical reality. And you knew this coming down here into your physical body, which you may have forgotten, but we're here to remember and we're here to apply. We knew that we could be, do, and have whatever it is that we wanted in this life. And we knew that we would create that using the power of our thoughts and the guidance of our emotions. And within these videos, you will hear me say the words vibration, frequency, energy a lot. They're all one of the same thing. So don't get confused whenever I mention vibration or frequency. They're all the same thing, and that's the thought or the emotion. And one very important piece of information that will be the basis for the rest of the following videos is that every single one of us has a mind, correct? Yes. And our minds are receivers and transmitters of energy. So we transmit vibrational frequencies through thought, and we also receive vibrational frequencies with our mind. And knowing this is how you create your own reality. So whenever you're thinking of whatever it is that you want, but you're thinking of the lack of it, that's the vibrational frequency you're transmitting. Therefore, you're continuing to see results in your physical reality that are going to prove to you why you have the lack of whatever it is that you want. And that's because you're transmitting the vibrational frequency of lack. And the vibrational frequency of lack of what is wanted and presence of what is wanted are two very different frequencies. So you have to be aware of which one you're transmitting. Whatever you're transmitting, you will know. I apologize, y'all. Whatever emotion you feel as a result of the thought you're thinking is the transmission you're broadcasting. So let's just go ahead and say you're thinking of the subject of money, right? But whenever you think of money, you feel emotions of lack. You feel emotions of fear, of worry that it will come. You doubt that it's going to show up in an abundance of quantities. You feel that lower vibrational frequency whenever you come to the subject of money. Well, most people who have forgotten this information, they just think that they're going along with life and they're thinking thoughts and they're feeling emotions. But those are actually two things that you're able to control. And when you learn how to control those two things, let me tell you, life begins to go so well for you. And that's exactly what we're here to remember how to do today, so that we could create what is wanted, like I've mentioned. So you think of the topic, you feel the emotions, and that emotion is then the signal you're broadcasting. And law of attraction, if you've heard of law of attraction before, great. And if you haven't, law of attraction is basically, I want to call it the manager that manages the vibrational frequency that you're transmitting. So let's just say that you're thinking of the subject of money and you feel emotions of doubt that it will come and worry and fear. Then that's the signal you're broadcasting. Law of attraction then manages that signal you're transmitting, and it brings things in your physical reality that will make that statement even more true. This statement that I don't have enough money, or I'm broke, or. So we have to be very conscious, aware of how we're feeling at every single point in time, because your emotions are just guidance. Our emotions is how God communicates to us, or source, or whoever it is that you believe in, is how they communicate with you through your emotions. You see, we live in a world where well-being is the dominant factor. Well-being is dominant. So whenever you feel anything other than well-being, that's just you going down the scale, and it's not nothing bad. When you're going down the scale from happiness to content to boredom to worry to doubt to fear to anger, that's just an indicator of where you are vibrationally. And that's God's way of communicating with you, telling you, I'm up here because well-being is dominant. So you have to change the way you're thinking and change the signal you're transmitting in order to move up the scale. And you'll know where you are in relationship to me whenever you start feeling positive emotions, because we all want to feel positive emotions. No matter what it is that you want in life, no matter what it is that you desire, and everyone's desires are different, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever it is that you feel you want, you believe that it will make you feel better in the having of it. So everybody wants to feel freedom, everyone wants to feel love, everybody wants to feel joy, and everybody wants to feel well-being. And whenever we feel anything less than that is the moment when we begin to realize, oh, I'm not feeling how I want to feel right now. I'm feeling emotions of worry, doubt, and fear. Okay, well, that's good to know. Now let me change the thoughts that I'm thinking into a more better feeling thought, so I could change my emotion, so that I could change the signal that I'm broadcasting, so that I could get into my reality what it is that I actually want. And like I mentioned before, the vibrational frequency of what is wanted, the presence of it, and the absence of what is wanted, those are two very different frequencies, because the frequency of what is wanted is a very high frequency. The attainment of it is a very high frequency. The presence of it is a very high frequency. And the higher frequency, all that means is the better feeling emotion. So you could tell whenever you think of the subject of money, and you feel that you have an abundance of it, and you feel good feeling emotions on the subject of money, it just means that you're vibrating at a higher frequency, because the emotions are increasing and they're inclinating, and you're going higher up the scale. And lower vibrational frequencies, all that means is a lower feeling emotion, like worry, doubt, or fear, or frustration, or irritation, or anger, or pessimism, or depression. And it's just crazy how so much of the time the majority of people feel those emotions, and that's became normal. But it's all good, because that's the past, because we know what we know now, and we are going to change that, so that well-being, which is dominant whether you want it to be or not, is something that we could attain and continue to broadcast, so that we actually receive what it is that we want in our reality. Now, the question is, where are you when it comes to this information? Where are you when it comes to this information, the understanding of this information, the use of this information? Are you a deliberate creator? Have you been creating on purpose or intentionally? Have you been using this information? And you want to ask yourself this: have I been using and applying this information, or have I been going through life observing, thinking everything's happening to me, and reacting and responding to what's going on? Or am I actually intentionally creating what's going on? Because the thing is, you're creating what's going on in your life whether you know about it or not. So everything that you have and everything that your life consists of is 100% because of you. Everything my life consists of is 100% because of me, and all the thoughts that I've ever thought about up until this point. And if you have in your life things that you don't want, or absence of what is wanted, then it's very important that you use this information deliberately. It's very important you use this information on purpose or intentionally, because whenever you start to understand that the thoughts I think and the emotions I feel are actually broadcasting a signal that law of attraction is managing and bringing back an equivalence of that, then you'll understand, oh, okay, let me change the way I'm thinking, let me change the way I'm feeling. And it's just good to know where you are right now, because you can't take any steps forward if you have no clue where you're at right now. And just be 100% honest with yourself. If you have been using this information, great. Let's continue to expand our knowledge on the information, and just practice it and practice it and practice it to where it just becomes habitual. And if this information is something that you haven't been doing on purpose, then let's practice it and practice it and practice it so that it becomes habitual. And whenever you practice the information, then it's less work when I first heard about this information just through studying and being mentored by successful people and whatever the case may be, it was challenging for me because it's something that I had to continuously work towards, and you're always going to be continuously working towards evolving. But whenever you get the foundation and the structure down and you know how to create your own reality, that's the point where it just becomes a habit and it's easy and you'll just evolve without even knowing it. And the crazy thing about life is that we're all evolving right now. You evolve every single point in time because that's the basis of who we are. We're evolving beings. We're just beings of evolution. So the vibrational version of you, which is your soul, that's always evolving. Your soul is always evolving. When you know what you don't want, you know more clearly what you do want. When you experience something that's unwanted, you know exactly what you would have rather experienced. And so much of the time, we're not focused on what we would rather want. We're focused on what is not going well, and we're trying to pick this problem apart to figure out how we could solve it, when the answer to solving any of your problems is to focus on the solution. And whether you do that consciously or not, the vibrational version of you, which is your soul, or the non-physical inner part of you, which we all do have, it's just logical that we all have a soul, and that's always expanding because it knows you didn't want this. Now it knows more clearly you would have rather had this. It evolves. I don't have enough money. I want more money. Evolves. I don't have this thing right now. The presence of this thing evolves. And your non-physical soul is always evolving. It can't help but evolve. That's the whole reason why it's experiencing life through you, through your physical body. And whenever you don't keep up with that evolution physically, whenever you don't keep up with it, you feel sort of a tug of war. You feel a detachment. You feel like it's pinching you off from your well-being, because well-being's up here. And every time your soul evolves as a result of knowing what you don't want, then well-being increases even more because it knows that there's more to reach for. And whenever you stay down here physically, and what I mean by that is through the thoughts you think and the emotions you're feeling, whenever you're staying down here physically and you're not changing the signal you're broadcasting, that's when you start to feel that tug of war. And you feel that tug of war through emotions. You feel the discord through your emotions. Whenever you know, I'd rather have this, but I'm beating the drum of what caused me to ask for it to begin with. And this is worry, doubt, fear. And you gradually move up the scale to happiness, optimism, freedom, love, joy. And you can't think or feel a vibrational frequency of freedom, love, and joy when you're currently transmitting a frequency of worry, doubt, and fear. Because like I said before, they're two completely different things. Freedom, love, and joy, worry, doubt, fear. They're two completely different things. So you have to gradually move closer to the good feeling emotions. And the way you do that is through allowing, because well-being is dominant for every single one of us. Why do you think whenever you go to sleep, you release all resistance and you go back into that well-being frequency? And then you wake up, you go out on your phone, you see something bad, and then you go back down to worry, doubt, and fear, and then you transmit that signal for the entire day, only to receive more of what you don't want, only to complain more about receiving more of what you don't want, only to completely continuing to repeat the cycle until eventually you die and you didn't live the life you wanted to live. So that might have been the past, but right now is all that matters, because the present moment is now. The present moment is the only time you could broadcast a signal. The present moment is the only time you could think a thought. I can't think a thought from the perspective of yesterday because that's the past, and I can't think a thought from the perspective of the future because I'm creating the future as of right now through the thoughts I'm thinking. And it's just such a good feeling whenever you know. Isn't that a good feeling? That you know I have 100% creative control over what happens next in my life. Whenever you know that you have 100% creative control of what's happening in your life, that's the exact moment when you take action. And action is only 10% of the job. 90% of the job is thought. So we have to make sure that we're taking action by thinking the thoughts that we actually would like to play out. And we have faith that what we want to play out is actually going to play out, rather than having fear of what's wanting to play out will not happen. Because again, you fear, you're transmitting a vibrational frequency of fear, therefore receiving an equivalence of whatever is on that frequency, which is not something that is wanted. And vice versa, you're transmitting a vibration of faith and expecting whatever it is that you want to come your way. You're transmitting that vibrational frequency of expectancy, and you're receiving in your physical reality results that are equivalent and that match the vibrational frequency you transmitted. The main point that I want to get across to conclude this conversation, and this is necessary to understand in order for any of what I'm saying to make sense, is that you're not just body, you're not just physical. Every single one of us here on earth has something in common, and that's the fact that we have a non-physical soul focused within us. It's irrefutable. And whatever you want to call that soul, it's there. And that's what's actually broadcasting the signal, because you can't broadcast something non-physical if you were only physical. If you were only just body, you can't transmit a signal. But thankfully, you have a soul that's focused within you, and it's experiencing everything you're experiencing right now, and that non-physical part of you is actually what has the ability to transmit whatever you want to transmit. So that's the main thing to understand for any of this to make sense, is the fact that you're not only your appearance. You're not only your appearance. There is a non-physical side to you. There's a non-physical side to me. And there's a non-physical side to every single person who you've ever met, to everybody on earth. Name one person. Every single person has that non-physical side to them. And when you understand that, that's when it begins to start making so much more sense. Oh, okay, that makes sense. My soul is like a satellite dish that's broadcasting whatever request I give to it. So what are you going to start requesting from now on? Are you going to start requesting things in your life that you would like to be, do, and have? Or are you going to request things that you would not like to be, do, and have? Request the absence of what it is you want to be, do, and have. And you're the only person who could create your reality. Your mom, your dad, your friends, your brother, your sister, your lover, no one is going to fulfill that job for you, because even if they wanted to, they couldn't. You are the only person with the creative control you hold within your mind and your soul, and you, from here on, in this point forward, are going to start transmitting the signal of what is wanted. And the more you practice the feeling, the more you practice the good feeling that comes with what is wanted, that's how you transmit a signal. Just practice the good feeling that comes with it. And the more you practice this signal, it becomes dominant within your vibration, therefore leaving what is unwanted dormant with no creative power within your reality. Let's go ahead and start doing things intentionally from now on, because the more intentional we are, the more of what it is that we want will come to us. Don't flow through life unawarely no more. Start being aware, conscious aware of everything that's going on right now in this moment. Begin to be aware, conscious aware of the thoughts you're thinking and the emotions you're feeling, and begin to practice the good feeling emotion that comes up as a result of thinking of what it is that you want. When you're thinking about what is wanted, like the money or the vehicle or the clothes or the relationship, and you feel a negative emotion evoked from you as a result of thinking of something that you want, you must be thinking of the lack of it or doubting that it will come. So from now on, when you think about what you want to feel good while thinking about that. And the way you do that is by acting as if you already have it, acting as if you've already attained it. And that should make you feel good, because that's the entire reason you want it in the first place, is because of the feeling you think it will bring to you. And the moment you feel that emotion as if you already have it, that's the signal you're broadcasting. Therefore, what law of attraction is managing, therefore what you will receive back into your reality.